What's up, everyone? It's Ditch. Welcome to the DTE podcast. Change is a Choice, episode 9. Tonight's going to be a pretty short episode. I just wanted to say real quick, also, please like and subscribe. And if you really want to support, comment on the YouTube video as well to show support. Now let's get into this episode. Tonight's going to be a short episode, like I said. I just wanted to say also thank you to everyone who listened to last week's 2 episodes, episode 7 and 8, the relaunch of my podcast. It took me years to build up the amount of courage to share in detail my testimony and my story, my life story, and the traumas that I've been through and whatnot. And when I use the word trauma, I don't use that word lightly. I use it in like the truest sense of the term. It took me a long time to build up the strength to overcome that fear of what the world was going to think of me. Were people going to cancel me? Were people going to hate me? Were people going to stop wanting to work with me? Whatever. Um, and obviously we all project our own insecurities into the world, but when you go through really extreme traumatic experiences in life that you know altered your way of perceiving reality, essentially moving forward out of survival, um when you go through something like that, you start seeing through this like trauma filter. Essentially, you start seeing life through this trauma filter. And so it took me a long time for me to, and it took a lot of strength for me to share in detail everything that I shared last week. And if you guys are curious what I'm referencing, please go watch episode 7 and 8. If if you're curious about really why I do what I do, who I am, and what my brand represents, and what my music is, and what my message is, on this planet, and why I do what I do, go check those episodes out because it'll really give you a deeper understanding of who I am. It's the most in depth, in detailed, most raw. I've most open, most vulnerable I've been with the world, with myself, and but publicly with the world. Um, and so I just want to say again, thank you to everyone out there who's been reaching out and support because it's really meant a lot to me. And in fact, a lot of people have been reaching out to me that are going through something similar or are going through something that could be the same. And people really want to hear more of this kind of content. Excuse me. I had bad acid reflux. People want to hear more of this kind of content, like just genuine, real, enlightening content, right? My music, my brand is all about helping you vibrate to your highest potential, um, and showing you guys through my testimony and showing you guys through my story, um, that you can accomplish anything. I truly believe by sharing my story through my music and what I have to say, um, does it already does and will continue to uh, help many people. I feel like that's my calling on this planet. So I just wanted to say again, thank you to everybody out there who I, I'm getting nervous even talking about it, but it took it took years for me to get to that point. So thank you guys so much for the support. Um, I wanted to first off expand a little bit on episode 7 and 8, and then I'll go into something else that's been on my mind lately. But staying with the theme of episode 7 and 8 and this relaunch and just opening myself up in this deeper way with everybody. What I've come to realize is that people are gonna like blue, people are gonna like red, people are gonna be left, people are gonna be right. Like everybody's gonna have their difference of opinions, and on a deeper level, under the surface, we're all wired differently. So nobody's going to fully understand your experience, no matter how much you try to convey your experience to them, because only you can experience what you experience. And so it's like I've come to realize that I have to show up for my authentic self as as who I am, and I have opinions, and I have boundaries, and I know I have morals and ethics and values that I live by, and I know what I believe in and who I am and what I stand for. And if I show up as that person, no matter where I am, you guys know what you're going to get. What you see is what you get from me. Then I'm going to take myself pretty far in life. So, the relaunch of my podcast last week is really that beginning of that journey for me, of really opening up and showing up as my true authentic self to the world, not just with myself, because I've been learning how to love myself. I've been learning how to respect myself. I've been getting to know me, the new me, for the past 3 years since I've started this really, really intense, journey of self-exploration and discovery and change. I've been getting to know this new version of me and who I am and me in general in a way I never knew. And, you know, getting to know who you are is such an important part of being able to show up for yourself in life. Because if you don't know who you are, you're not going to know how to show up. So for me, it's like I spent, I don't know how I do those things. I spent the last 3 years figuring out who I was, and a lot of people never do that work, by the way. A lot of people never look themselves in the mirror and actually have those conversations with themselves to figure out who they really are deep down. It takes a lot of deep meditation and a lot of time alone. I used to hate being alone. Now I love being alone because I've learned to love being with myself. And I know myself so well now that, I love every part of me. So because I love every part of me, I'm going to show up for myself. And because I show up for myself, I'm going to show up for the world as myself as well. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And last week, episode 7 and 8, the relaunch of my DTE podcast, Changes of Choice, was a prime example, not prime, that's a bad term, was exactly what that was. It was me taking that leap of faith to show up as myself in the world. And that, on a deep, deep level, is the developmental process of a human being, a child as they develop. And a lot of people are not given the chance to actually develop through their childhood because they grow up in a very traumatic environment. And so a lot of children's developmental stages psychologically become stopped and delayed and may never even resume. For a lot of people never grow up. A lot of people never grow up. Even though they look like they might be 80 years old, but they never grow up. So, it's important to get to know yourself because otherwise you stay a child because you stay stuck developmentally in those developmental psychological stages as a human being, and you're not able to grow because when you're in a traumatic experience that requires fight or flight and survival mode, you're not able to grow. That's not You need all your energy towards survival. So, a lot of times most people, it's very difficult for them to get out of that state of survival, out of that loop of feeling like they gotta, be in fight or flight all the time. And it's very difficult to get to know yourself like you start like a stranger, you know. And I remember teaching myself how to ask myself questions about myself. And that was tough because I had a lot of times where I was like, damn, like I didn't know this part of myself. You know, I didn't realize that this is how I do this or this is how I do that, or I had this belief and I need to change that belief. Like I got to be real with myself. Like, is this really like I made a mistake? You know, being humble, with being willing to learn, all these kind of things. Like it takes self reflection and it takes getting to know yourself. And so my point is, I know myself so well now that I'm ready to show up for myself in the world. And what you see is what you get. And if you agree, thank you guys so much for supporting, and thank you so much for listening to the podcast and for listening to my music first and foremost, and allowing me to inspire you to choose change in your life because I really want to help people heal. Um, but if you don't see that, if you don't see my true intention, if you don't see me for who I am, that's on you because I know who I am and I show up as me. So that's all I can do. And it's worked pretty well so far for me. Even before I even knew me, I was just based off of intuition, right? Just trying to do the right thing. And so the way I think of it is I was operating blind before. Now, and I still did pretty well. Now I can see, my third eye is open, and I know myself. So I can show up for myself in ways that I never could before. So I just wanted to share that little bit of like not knowledge, but I guess it's knowledge, but like wisdom, like anecdotal experience, that I've been going through with myself, to maybe spark some inspiration for you, some motivation, whatnot, for your own journey of healing and for your own journey of self discovery, because it really is, it really is that it's a journey. It's a journey, and it's a process of getting to know yourself, and it's a process of getting to know who you are. Um, and I hope that by sharing who I am, I can inspire you to get to know yourself in the way that I have gotten to know myself. Um, the other thing I wanted to address tonight on this podcast was just this lack of substance in the music industry, right? Um, I think obviously, as we all know, like the music industry, Hollywood, etc., we all know that it's like sex, drugs, all those kind of things. I get it. I'm not trying to change the world. So I understand what I'm up against here. But I think as a culture, but especially as fans and as consumers, but especially as an artist who creates music, I see it as a divine responsibility because I have the ability to move people's souls at will. Whether I'm realizing it or not, whether it's conscious or subconscious, whether I'm aware of it or I'm unaware of it, I'm moving people's energy through my music, through my words, through my sound, through my testimony, through my energy. And so right now, the music industry is really, really culturally centered around the mainstream, is culturally centered around terrible, like no values, no morals, no ethics, uh, promiscuous sex. Don't be a husband, don't be a father, don't be a mother, don't be a wife. Be an independent person. You don't need nobody. Screw traditional values. It's like we live in a world now, especially in the music industry, where people will sell their soul and they'll sell out more than ever. And so I think as consumers, as fans, we need to start supporting artists. And I'm not just saying this for me. I'm saying we need to start supporting artists like Russ, who's putting out positive music, who's giving you the blueprint on not only how to be an independent artist, but how to succeed as a human being in life for free. If you're willing to study all of Russ's content on YouTube, read his books, listen to all of his music, he gives all the game away. He gives it all away. You just have to be willing to study and willing to listen and willing to apply the knowledge that he's given out. People like Russ are the people that we as fans and as artists and fellow members of the music industry need to support and need to really help like boost their message and boost their popularity and start making that kind of stuff cool, because it's not cool to be addicted to drugs. It's not cool to be addicted to sex. It's not cool to be mentally ill and be monetizing that mental illness. It's beyond not cool, it's cruel. And so that's what my brand represents. Is I'm a mental health advocate. All of my music, I go by the name Ditch the Ego because it's a constant process of ditching the ego, right? All of us in the music industry have egos. We have big egos. It's kind of baked into the whole equation of wanting to be an artist or an actor or this or that or just anything in the entertainment industry. You got to have an ego of some sort. So my whole brand though is it's like ditching the ego is the way to reach your highest potential and true authentic self. And it's a constant reminder, right? So my whole brand is about sharing my testimony, mental health, trying to help people believe in themselves and show people what's possible by simply showing up for themselves in life, right? That's what we need to represent as artists, as producers, as people, as fans. Though we need to start consuming music like it's food. You are what you eat. It's the same with the music. It's like, I know I sound like an old man, but it's like you gotta consume positivity if you want to have a positive mindset and a positive life. If you're going to infect yourself with negative energy, you're going to feel negative. You're going to feel down. You're going to be in a dark place. And I just think it's especially us artists' responsibility to, I see it personally as a spiritually divine responsibility to uplift, bring light into this world of darkness and to uplift people's energies and vibrations and to help people heal. So, I just wanted to say that because, I understand being cool and trying to be trendy and like all these things. I get it. I understand, but at the end of the day, like there are people out there who like you may be able to have a drink of alcohol, but like there are people out there who are alcoholics who can never have a drink of alcohol, right? So you just have to be aware of like the energy you're putting out there as an artist, because you might be able to you might think you may be able, as Bible, you might think you may be able to party and do drugs and have promiscuous sex and have like a sustaining, long lasting, meaningful life, but that doesn't mean that if you lead somebody else, in fact thousands or millions of people of your fans, if you start leading them into that belief, majority of their lives are going to be screwed because they're not some rock star who's making millions of dollars, who living crazy life. Most people are not living that life. So, and by the way, that's not a life you want to live. So, it's really, we have to be more aware of the energy we're putting out into the world. And I'm proud to be trailblazing this path. I'm proud to be one of many artists out there that are talking about positivity, healing, and they're sharing their testimony, whatever that may be, you know and as long as it's authentic and it's coming from the heart, and you're clearly trying to work through something, then great. But if we're putting music out there or we're putting art out there that's glorifying us, like negative behaviors and negative lifestyles and stuff, that's totally different than like describing some situation you had to go through that you learned from, and now looking back on it, you're grown, a different person, and you've grown so much and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there into the community. Really be aware of who you're collaborating with and what kind of music and energy you're putting out there, because I understand it's easy to make a beat sell, it's easy to sell, get a feature price, have people pay you for certain things, but it's like if you're willing to sell your services for any amount of dollar and work with any people's energies, it's like that's how you start getting into the whole sell your soul lifestyle, right? And so you have to just be aware of the people you're collaborating with and the energies that you're collaborating with and the people you're supporting, and the music you're supporting and making, because ultimately it does have an effect in this world. And even if it doesn't have an effect on you, um, I guarantee it has an effect on the people who are listening in ways that you will never imagine. So I just want to put that out there. Um, you know, Tonight's going to be a short pod. We're going to cut it off here pretty soon, in a couple minutes. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys and touch on that little bit of what's been on my mind as far as with the music industry. Um, Last but not least, thank you so much to Josh Crespo, Dasmond De Leon, Max the drummer, everybody Douglas Morton, of course, Q Up Arts, Music Sketch, everybody who showed up at NAMM to support our booth, Douglas's booth, I should say, that we're supporting. Q Up Arts is his company, and the app Music Sketch. It was an incredible experience. This is my second year at NAMM. It was an incredible experience to meet people, network. Shout out to Drums headphones. We got some in-ear headphones. They're based out of New Orleans. They're sponsored by the New Orleans Pelicans. We're happy to be using their products in our live shows coming up in 2024. And we networked with some incredible people from 1500 Sound Academy. So we're just really excited. Josh, me, Dasmond, we're really excited about, and Douglas, of course, like I said, with the Q Up, with the whole company we were at NAMM with in the first place. We're so excited for what we're creating and what we have in store for you guys this year. We've got some really, really special stuff coming your guys' way. I'm working on my sophomore album right now, and it's really coming together and turning into this really, really special experience of really, really deep healing and self-exploration. And as this whole podcast has been about me sharing my testimony and showing you guys that, you have to go through everything you are meant to go through to become who you're meant to be. So, Josh Crespo is an executive producer on that. Dasmond De Leon is an executive producer on that. Chris Kennedy is an executive producer on that. So, and I got a huge team too of people I'm working with. Shout out to Worldwide Beats. Shout out to Neiman OG. Shout out to Brig. Shout out to Plain T. Shout out to anybody else I'm missing, that just not coming to my name at this exact Quinn Beats, at this exact current moment. You know what I mean? Thank you to everybody on my DTE team. We're all putting together something super special for the world, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. It's gonna be an incredible 2024. We've got the sophomore album coming. I got DTE podcast episodes dropping twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we're gonna be doing more healing work and expanding the DTE brand more as well. I'm going to be starting to expand the way that I help people heal, and through my sound and through my music and through my word this year. So I'm excited to start rolling out some of the things that I've been working on and to start showing you guys what I have in store. So anyways, I couldn't be more excited for 2024 with you guys. Thanks again so much for the support. As always, like and subscribe, and thank you guys so much. Change is a choice. Stay strong. Great things always come.